Hiya, Chuck. How goes it?
Hey, Boogie, I'm doing good. How about you?
I kid. So, I suppose we can jump right into this with our first question coming from Neptune. What was the hardest thing to research and craft for the Pacific Front update?
Okay, all right, Neptune. That's a really good question. Because I don't think there's a single, like, only a single answer for this one. Working with the Mercury Arts team, and they're very talented level designers. Like, they had to do a lot of research into historical maps and terrain data in order to be able to craft the level to make sure that it's as accurate as possible to the battle itself. And we're talking about things like trench lines, individual pillboxes, like rifle pits and placements. Like, all of that detail is as close as we could get it to real life. Another big challenge actually was trying to get data on a lot of the Japanese like cannons and ammunition that they used. A lot of that stuff was just lost in time. A lot of the data that we ended up salvaging was actually from the U.S. Army or U.S. Marine Corps analysis on captured enemy ordnance. So it's like, what did this 120 millimeter artillery cannon fired? And like the data that we could find just said, oh, just a Type 1 HE shell, and it's like, okay, that tells us nothing. And then we had to do a lot more digging, and then we found out that they actually tested those shells, as in the Americans did, and produced their own data sources. And then from there, we were able to also make contact with some Japanese historians that were able to provide us additional data in Japanese, which was actually really interesting.
Yeah, that's actually funny. The next question in my Discord is, who will be voicing the bonsai charge from Kazuma X?
Oh, okay. We actually had a really we had a couple of voice actors from Japan that we actually contracted to do some voice work for us. They're basically like minor talent over in Japan, but like with enough coaching.
Had they done anything like war kind of stuff before?
War related? I don't think so. but like, I actually speak Japanese myself, so I was able to help kind of coach them to get the kind of sound that I wanted. I also kind of put in a lot of the secondary like Japanese voiceover as well. Probably the biggest challenge was to get them to kind of be in the mindset of someone that's in the battle, because like it's difficult to kind of get someone to scream in a way that's convincing that they're about to kill someone or be killed themselves.
Yeah, right. It's funny.
Yeah.
If flamethrowers end up being added to the game, is there potential for flamethrower tanks to be added, i.e. M3 Satan, the SD that's the half-track Germans, I didn't even know they had one, into the base game, or through modding? This is from the legendary Edelweiss.
Legendary Edelweiss, yes. Thankfully, we actually do have flamethrowers in the game, as you probably saw in the last playtest. We have the M2-2 flamethrower kit, which is like handheld. We do want to eventually implement this for vehicles as well. The Marines did actually employ, I think, flamethrower tanks, like basically Shermans that have been outfitted with a flamethrower during the battle for Iwo Jima. And we might not get this within the first iteration, but this is something that we want to include once we get a bit more time and a bit more of a breather with development. Some of the really interesting differences that we found with how flamethrower tanks were used or were designed compared to handheld kits. A lot of them, I think, had a napalm mixture, which allowed the actual flame to be projected a much further distance. Like handheld flamethrowers, I think, had a maximum range of between 20 and 30 meters, maximum effective range. But like vehicle-mounted flamethrowers could shoot out to 150 to 200 meters. So like how do we account for that, or how do we design that within the confines of the game, and what its overall impact is going to be is something that we very much look forward to developing.
This is from Tactical Mike. Will we get the other islands to fight on, like Guadalcanal and Midway and other islands? I told him that you guys already announced Guadalcanal as the second one, but maybe do we know anything more, or
anything else? Yeah, I can't really speak on what the third map is actually going to be, but yeah, you're right in that Guadalcanal is going to be our second Pacific map. The thing we want to try to hit with each of the maps is a very different kind of gameplay for them. So if for Iwo Jima you have a beach assault that is across a very open mountainous kind of terrain, Guadalcanal by contrast is very dense jungle mixed in with a lot of with open grass fields and also again fairly hilly terrain. Those two play very differently to each other, and this third map that we are planning to develop, we want to try to introduce another dimension to the Pacific War that you probably wouldn't see from other similar battlefields or other islands during the campaign.
And there's Guadalcanal's got creeks or small rivers running through it, more people, right?
Yep. It's a fairly low-lying island, so yeah, there's a lot of water networks that kind of crisscross the island as well. Another really interesting, I guess, dimension to the battle is that it takes place much earlier in the war. I think in early 42, I think. So the Marine Corps and Japanese military at the time were using equipment from earlier in the war. So you probably might see a lot more Type 11 machine guns and Type 38 rifles from the Japanese side. And for the Marines, you had kit that was basically from the First World War, water-cooled 1990 machine guns and bolt-action Springfields.
Nice. Now this one's funny because I used to joke about this, and you guys probably already know, since I've been doing YouTube pretty much since day one, Squad 44, since Postscriptum came out, since I've been doing YouTube, I've been kind of always mentioning Pacific Front would be what I wanted the most, because I would always list off at the end of a video let me know down in the comments what you want to see the devs do. I personally would love to see the Pacific Front, and I would ramble off or before I said that I would say, as for myself, I would say I want to see shotguns, flamethrowers, booby traps, bonsai charges, all this stuff, and then I'd say the Pacific Front, of course, but I would always list off that, and at the end, the corniest thing at the end of the list, I would say, and command off map commander calling kamikazes. But it's funny that I used to say that. And from Marshall Waffle, that's his question. Will the Pacific Front maybe give us a kamikaze airstrike, we can call it?
Kamikaze airstrike.
Or just a plane or two acting as the bomb itself would be dope, seeing a last-ditch stand and having a plane just ram your fob or tank killing it.
That would be a really interesting gameplay addition, I feel. I can't say that we're actually... I can't say that
it's on the borderline of not being okay. Like some people aren't okay with the whole kamikaze theme.
Yeah, I know. I guess it's not to say that we won't do it or people can't mod it in, but from a historical point of view, I'm not sure if kamikaze pilots were necessarily ordered to attack land targets. You have to consider during the Battle of Iwo Jima, I don't think the Japanese Army or Navy had much of an air presence, and in Guadalcanal, I don't think they were using kamikaze tactics in at the same level of desperation as they would be by towards the end of the war. But having said that, though, it is a pretty compelling visual in my head to have a plane just screaming at you.
Yeah, it would be cool. I mean, if it was okay, but I get it. I don't think it's okay.
It obviously is a very sensitive topic, and I guess one of the things that we wanted to try to do with the Pacific Theater, because it was such a brutal conflict that you saw desperate tactics being employed by both sides. We wanted to try to be true to history at that level, but not necessarily glorified in any particular sense. Like we wanted to try to say that.
Yeah, that's why I know it can't really be done. It would be cool, like maybe a mod or something. But
yeah. I mean, if someone wants to do it and they have the skills to do it, you know, by all means.
It would be like, holy! First time you see it would be crazy. The legendary Spider Danny asks if there will be at least one Boogie 5 Easter egg on the Pacific maps.
What would you like, Boogie?
What would I like?
Yeah. I mean, I would.
Doing.
Maybe give us some ideas.
Seppuku? How you say it?
Yeah. Seppuku.
That'd be cool.
Like what? Like a statue of you doing it, or?
Yeah, an image, whatever. That'd be cool.
Okay.
That'd be sick. Maybe you could see the slice horizontally and then the slice up, and I'm like this, like you can use this face.
and then your like logo, you know,
From the legendary Sergeant Weenie from First ID.
Weenie.
Will there be a scenario where the Marines land in the face of pre-targeted Japanese hidden bunkers and artillery?
We might explore that as like a specific layer. I think most of the layers that we have that we have designed involve the Marines basically like landing, but the Japanese also need to get to the defensive positions as well, so as to actually kind of create a fair fight. Often when you have one team that's already in position and you have the enemy team of very similar size and power, like this position, come against you, defenders are almost always going to win. So again, we may explore this as like a separate game mode, not a game mode, but as like a separate layer. Yeah, like an invasion layer that is like that. But like generally, from what we found, like it is defender's advantage is very strong.
Oh yeah. That's one thing I loved about so far. My favorite layer that I've seen, I believe, was Frontline 01, and it's kind of cool the way the beach is. Like the Japanese are kind of in the west, and we're kind of in the east. And I was trying to tell my squad leader at one point, he wanted to get the most western boat and come in. I said, dude, we got to get in the eastern boat, go up inland, and then over. But
go up and then across, yeah. Because, like, I mean, why do you want to kind of charge head on to, like, an enemy position across, 200 meters of open beach, right?
Yeah, and I like how there is, like, a couple, craters and stuff to get into. It's great, but not too many.
Yeah.
If there's too many, it would be silly. But, okay, now moving on to Tactical Mike. He wanted to know if we could get, like, a flag-raising animation of some sort for the top of the mountain of Iwo Jima. That would be pretty cool. Which is interesting because the Eastern Front guys did that. And I think that would be cool, where it's not, it has no real effect to the gameplay, but it's just something you can do, which is cool.
Something you can do. Yeah, that would be cool actually. Like, we'll see if the Mercury House guys want to do that. We have the flag raising as like a victory screen for if you win as like the Marines, right? But it will be cool as just like I would almost call it an Easter egg at that point, because like it doesn't sound like if it was, or maybe if it was an actual objective, that would be interesting. I feel like no other game has done that before, so it could be something cool.
Spider Daddy asked them if they could introduce an extra map for chapter 2, 3, and 4 in the future, because it's weird that we only get 3 or 4 maps for these, but chapter 1 gets 9 maps or something like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a bit of I guess like an imbalance there. That ultimately comes down to what we think is going to be beneficial for the game as a whole. Our original plan with like the Pacific is to actually do 3 maps of very different I guess look and feel, especially in terms of gameplay. And so if we find that we are able to achieve something similar with a previous chapter, then I think that's something that the team will actually consider. Like we just don't want to add a map for the sake of balancing the number of maps. But we want to make sure that what we bring is going to be gameplay wise really interesting. I know me personally, like I would love to see a chapter 3 like British focused map, like British focused D-Day map, like
CAEN Con or whatever it's called.
Yeah, like Con or Juno Beach or like those was it Juno or Sword Beach?
Yeah,
but like
Sword, the
like
British did, I think.
Yeah, the Canadians I think were in Juno, but yeah, it's again, like we're talking complete speculation here, but if we were to able to introduce a compelling new type of gameplay with a map, we would consider that like a additional value add.
And there are so many good modded maps like the Merville Bridge, Pegasus Bridge, Merville Battery.
Oh, cool! Yeah.
Those guys, there's so many good modded maps. It's crazy. Like that none of them get played. You guys mentioned the possibility of having the Marines uniforms get more and more sweaty the longer you live. Performance mode, is that a feature you are still pursuing?
It might have taken a little bit of like a backseat, especially considering there's also a lot of content that we still need to get through with the future Pacific maps, but it is like something that just comes down to time and passion. I feel I do wonder if people will actually notice a difference if you have like a clean uniform next to a really dirty one. But yeah, it is like a feature that we kind of toyed around with, and hopefully one day we would actually be able to probably get it in, because that will be, hopefully that will also be applicable to all the other factions as well. Because like we've only kind of thought about this whole sweat thing for like the Marine kids, because they got very sweaty in heat of the tropics.
Yeah, they weren't used to it.
Yeah.
Kind of going back to another question. Correct me if I'm wrong. Iwo Jima's, you're talking about these kind of being different biomes in a way. Iwo Jima is kind of a drab, dreary kind of black sand, foggy. Correct me if I'm wrong. Guadalcanal is probably would be the opposite of that. Or be more.
It's just the nature of like the geography. Like Iwo Jima is a very highly active volcanic island. So generally you find like the sand looks different, the vegetation feels very different as well. A lot of low-lying grass and like short foliage, I guess. But then when you look at something like Guadalcanal, which is in the Solomon Islands, like we're thinking very lush tropical forests and very dense canopies and things like that. The island itself has a certain degree of like agriculture as well, so you would see areas of forest that have been cleared by locals to plant crops and things like that. So it's a little bit more also lived in compared to Iwo Jima, which was fairly. I mean, you had inhabitants, but it was not on the same scale as the Solomons.
Right. Cool. Yeah. I mean, that's all the questions. I mean, this isn't really a question. This is kind of more of words of encouragement. Maybe you could bring them to the team, but keep up great work. And like I said, it's not. You guys got to remember. I mean, who am I? But it's not about the don't do what the AAA companies do. Oh, more weapons, more factions, more maps. Yeah. Just chill, take your time, and do more features, more mechanics, more flesh out more stuff. I think it would be cool. Yeah. It would be kind of dumb and maybe again something you can't do, but for as an example of something you probably can't do, it would be cool to like have a emote that is like, like say I failed my squad and I'm like, sorry guys, it's my fault. We're at the top of Mount Suribachi and I press the button and seppuku like animation. Of course you can't do that, but I'm just saying it's the little minutia I think is more important than the grand content. But I think for us we're also kind of getting on board the idea that
like more content doesn't necessarily translate to like more engagement. It depends on what the content is, but like definitely more game wide features and
for example, like as the game was being made, once they had the bullets where it would go and the bullets would hit the ground and like fling, like just that little
ricochet,
that little thing right there adds so much more. And by the time you do 20 things like that, the game feels so much more alive and real. Alright guys, that was all of your questions I got from Discord. Do make sure you join the Boogie 5 Discord down below in the description. I will certainly let you guys know if we get another chance to ask more questions. If you're not already subscribed, maybe do that. All that good stuff. Of course, thank you for watching. Special shout out to my channel members, the Mil-Simp minions. I will see you boys in the next one. Y'all be good to each other.